Module 10, Language Corpora and Dictionary. Recent experience shows that language corpora provide a solid empirical base by way of providing types of linguistic information to the words entered in a general reference dictionary. Corpus-based information of words are best obtained from a large corpus. After processing of corpus, the words, set expressions, phrases, proverbs, idioms, and other lexical items are used for making a general dictionary. For instance, the Collins-Coble Dictionary, produced in 1995, used the data from the British National Corpus and the Bank of English data. It is treated as one of the most useful, authentic dictionary in English. It is also used as an indispensable reference book for lexicographical research and education all over the world. In principle, a dictionary of a living language can never be complete in information. With the advancement of life, knowledge, and civilization, old words become obsolete, while new words come in to fulfill the new needs of the time. On the other hand, words which are able to survive against the stream of change in vocabulary change their form, meaning, and usage to adapt with new climate tendered by time. A general dictionary has two important roles to play in this context. It has to restore the track of lexical loss through a draconic search for lexical evolution, and it has to represent the contemporary scenario of word use by a synchronic projections of lexical lists. Lexicographers having access to a corpus can easily call up all the examples of word use from it to produce and revise dictionaries easily and quickly after retrieving up-to-date information about usage variations of words in corpora. Also, they can provide a definition of words in a more complete and precise manner because they are able to examine a large number of examples available in the corpora. In this case, an open or that is constantly growing corpus has an important role to play, since it enables lexicographers to find out how the words, mostly the new words, are entering into the language, while existing words changing their meaning and usage. Moreover, the dictionary makers can produce lists of the frequency of occurrence of words, balance their use across genres, and divide them across language variety. A corpus contains a large amount of textual information regarding sociolinguistic variables such as region, author, date, genre, profession, sex, etc. It helps dictionary makers to tie up usage of particular words or phrases as being typical to a particular variety, genre, time, or profession. Furthermore, lexicographers can easily call up word combinations of various types to establish a relationship between co-occurring words by analyzing their underlying mutual information. This will enable language users to understand phrases, idioms, and collocations more systematically, since they provide important clues for specific word sense retrieval. Some relevant questions may be raised in this context. From the perspective of Indian languages, we can think of using corpus for developing dictionaries of various types: monolingual, bilingual, dictionary of technical and scientific terms, dictionary of spellings, dictionary of homonyms and synonyms, etc. Such dictionaries will definitely be more advanced, more informative, and more pragmatic than the dictionaries available in markets today. It is reported that information derived from the Bank of English has improved almost every aspect of English dictionary. Let us understand how this is possible. In that context, we would like to ask certain questions such as the following. Question number 1. Do we ever use the word gay in its older sense nowadays? Question number 2. Is it right to say different from, or should it be different to? Question number 3. Does the word cheap carry a negative connotation? These are a simple few questions. It is better to call up instances of the words from the corpus to answer those questions. Corpus will show in which sense words are actually used. Question number 1. Which form is more common in which type of text? Question number 2. And if words can have a derogatory sense? Question number 3. Analysis of examples from the Bank of English shows that the word gay has almost lost its old sense. Phrases like different from and different to maintain significant usage variations according to writing and spoken texts. And the word cheap is simply neutral in sense, although it carries a definite disparaging meaning in dictionary. Similar questions may be raised. Which technical terms should be included in a general dictionary? This is a crucial question to lexicographers. To find an answer, the Bank of English yields frequency figures of terms to show that terms which appear in magazines and newspapers are rarely encountered in the vocabulary of common people. This may be a possible solution, yet it is almost impossible to answer the question without evidence ready at hand. Many people will have different opinions about the point, but when it comes to committing language information in a dictionary, we believe we should take account of the wealth of data which a corpus provides for a language. Many people have different opinions about this point, but when it comes to committing language information in a dictionary, we believe we should take account of the wealth of data which a corpus provides for a language. Thus, many innovative features were possible to include in the latest edition of the Corpus Co-built English Dictionary for advanced learners, only because it used information of analysis that has been carried out on millions of example supports in use across a range of up-to-date text types stored in the corpus. Corpus for a general dictionary. If you want to compile a general dictionary, either in digital or in printed form, we should consider the following issues. Since without these, a dictionary of present-day language is incomplete in information. In the case of the electronic version, every stage is automated to the maximum, with allowance for regular human intervention. For a monolingual general dictionary, we should have a large monolingual corpus. It will include samples of text varieties of the target language so that it supplies the necessary information we want to include in the dictionary. Exhaustive frequency list of lemmatized words obtained from corpus will help lexicographers to decide which words are significant enough to be included in the dictionary. Lexicographers should use a spelling checking system that will enable them to collect words which register spelling variations. Based on frequency, they will decide which spellings will be considered for inclusion in the dictionary. For a language like Bangla or Hindi or Telugu, such consideration is extremely important. In the case of the pronunciation of words, the lexicographer needs to consider the standard as well as regional utterance variations of words. For this, they should use a corpus of spoken texts. For representing the regional variations of words, dictionary makers need to have special statistical information to identify which words are used in which regions and in which frequency. This will help to know if a word has a high or low frequency in regional variety with respect to its frequency in standard variety. Statistical information is also required to know genre distributions of words. Lexicographer needs to know if words included in the dictionary are used in all text types with equal frequency, or do they vary with regard to the genre of text, like speech, writing, newspaper, imaginative text, informative text, etc. In the case of grammatical information, lexicographers need to identify the lexical class of words, patterns of their collocation, frequency of their collocation, nature of distribution, etc. to be included in the dictionary. Lexicographers must have enough linguistic information regarding semantic properties of words. They may include hyponyms, synonyms, polysemies, antonyms, and others that to be as a member of the dictionary. To cater varieties of the need of lexicographers, the relevance of a corpus is beyond estimation. To fulfill each of the requirements stated above, dictionary makers will use corpus with elegance and efficiency never tested before. Thus, lexicographers will use corpus to generate evidence that can either supplement or refute their intuitions, find out new words and terms existing or entering the language over time, identify how existing words change their meanings, recognize how words balance their usage according to genres and text types, call up examples of words to identify their contextual variations, revise existing dictionaries with new and updated data and information, present more complete and precise definitions of various linguistic items, give up-to-date information about any change or loss of words in the language, arrange examples into more meaningful groups for analysis, classify individual words according to different research parameters, isolate word combinations to explore inherent mutual relationship that warrants their co-occurrences, treat phrases and collocations systematically to provide important clues to specific word sense, and tie up use of words and phrases as being typical to particular regional varieties and genres by examining contextual information. In all these tasks, composition and size of corpus are important issues. From the point of reliability, dictionary entries cannot be based on one example only. At least 10 or more examples are required before a particular feature or pattern of use becomes apparent or becomes statistically reliable to be included in the dictionary. However, in many cases, words with 10 plus tokens are considered for inclusion in most of the dictionaries, although their inclusion may depend on the additional editorial policy used for preparation for a dictionary. Surely we need corpus in the range of billions of words before we can start compiling corpus-based unabridged dictionaries. Until then, the corpus can easily assist us in most lexicographic and linguistic enterprises, but it cannot be said that it is adequate in size. It is not a coincidence that corpora were first used for English language teaching, lexicography, where the requirements in a number of headwords was more or less modest. Even then, it used larger corpora to give reliable evidence about the range of meanings, grammatical patterns, and collocational behavior of all but the most common words. The argument is not for the disillusionment of lexicographers who are working with small corpus. The COBILT's initial attempt in corpus-based lexicography were based on the examples collected from a corpus of 1 and 7 million words. Many of these examples still remain valid in essence, even when checked with the corpus that contains more than 450 million words. This implies that small corpus may be adequate for domain-specific dictionary, but for generalizations about the entire lexicon, the bigger is the corpus, the better is the result. Collection of data from written sources. In the case of dictionaries of written languages, the source material for a normative dictionary differ from that of a reference dictionary. For a bilingual dictionary, generally an existing monolingual dictionary is taken as the source material. For a normative dictionary, the materials are extracted from creative works of literary writers, texts on technical and scientific subjects, works on human knowledge like history, philosophy, logic, etc. Besides, articles, sketches, and other types of texts from journals and newspapers are also used. They provide specimens of contemporary language. They are good resources for extracting words and phrases newly introduced to the language, or words or phrases used in new senses. Special terms introduced to the language are sometimes found in such sources also. The language of mass media like radio, television, or social also are utilized for the collections of materials for a normative dictionary. This gives wide representativeness of the materials. The collection of data from all the above sources may be enough for a large dictionary, may not be enough for a large dictionary. The bigger dictionaries, there are usually advisors who can help in compiling data. A collection of data on citation slips takes several years. The information collected is very useful for different points of view. Their utility is not lost as soon as the work of the dictionary is over. Citation slips are preserved in scriptorium to refer to the art at the final stage of the printing and preserved for future research works also. Selection of entry words. The number of words in a given language is increased with time. Therefore, dictionary, however voluminous it may, can never claim to include all the lexical dictionary words of a language with their meanings, sub-meanings, and collocational possibilities. A lexicographer has to decide a selection of the entries of his dictionary. Selection of entries is determined by various factors: size, type, purpose, and other issues included into mind. Neologism. The lexical stock of a language does not remain static. New objects and concepts are introduced in speech community. These concepts and objects are expressed in the language by different ways. New words and expressions are coined, new meanings are generated, or some words are borrowed. Those new words may be included into the list. Proper names can also be included into the list. A lexicographer is posed with the problem of including proper names in the dictionary. As we have already discussed in the earlier module, selection of proper names are actually constrained by various factors about their acceptability in the community. Many a time, a proper name is being used in a special sense to develop into general words or become part of the lexical stock of the language. We may examine the following entries in a Hindi dictionary with the word Ganga, which was attained certain special meanings of any river or white color. The land formed, the Ganga Barar, the land formed by the shifting of the current of the river, or Ganga Jamuna mixed with white and black colors and mixed with color and silver. So there are various ways to select those proper names and identify their significance in the community, then only they can be considered. Some empty words may be also included in the dictionary. Some words occur in certain constructions, only they are not treated as independently. In Bengali, as is used in the sense of aspas, that is nearby. Chidiya is a word used only in the word chidiyakhana in that sense. This type of also include words which also are used in some collocations, as to and fro and such and such. Such words should be included in the dictionary with the suitable cross-references and specific citations, indications of their peculiarities in occurrences. Function words. As the function words have no referent or denotatum, they have no lexical meaning. They have only the functional or relational meaning. So it may be contended whether they should be included in a dictionary or not. Their inclusion in a dictionary can be pleaded on that following grounds. The function of relation or function words, especially in their collocations, cannot be predicted. A word may have lexical meaning in one context and grammatical meaning in another context. In that case, function words should have an entry in the dictionary. Function words have greater occurrence in the language rather than the context words. And because of their high frequency of occurrences, in the larger variety, function words are having greater collocational facilities. Hence, there is a chance that these words should be included. Set expressions and multi-word units, also called the phraseological units. Set expressions or multi-word units are word groups consisting of two or more words whose combination is integrated as a unit or without specialized meanings as a whole. In pre-combinations, words are combined to express different meanings in different ways. In English, live happily, live miserably, live comfortably, good man, good news, good book, etc. are free combinations and are created as and when the speaker wants to communicate such ideas. They are not stable in usage. The maximum communicative function of the language is performed by such expressions. But as their meanings are predictable, the meanings are the sum total of the meanings of the constituents, since the lexicographer does not enter them in the dictionary. As opposed to the pre-combinations, set expressions are not created on the need of communication. They are fairly stable in use. For example, the constituent like red flower may be substituted by blue, white, or any other word depending on the color, in any way changing the meaning of the flower. But if the word red is the red tape is changed, the blue or white, it would mean the tape of ribbon or certain color, and the total meaning of the red tape, that is bureaucratic method, would be lost. Another difference noted between the pre-combinations and set expressions is the semantic relationship between the constituents of a phrase. In the case of the former, the relationship is additive, while each element has greater semantic independence. In the case of the latter, the information or meaning is not additive because the constituents are fused semantically. Besides these, set expressions have some other characteristic features also. Since nothing could be inserted between them, they are generally indivisible. For example, English term red tape or good morning, etc. cannot be broken into parts and some elements can be inserted in between. Sometimes they are substituted by single lexical items to attain the status of word equivalence. For example, English be in the a brown study, be gloomy. The set expressions have the same function in the sentence as a lexical unit, so they are included in the dictionary. A proverb is a short, familiar epigrammatic saying expressing popular wisdom, a truth or a moral lesson in a concise and imaginative way. Proverbs resemble set expressions in many respects. They are traditional, their constituent cannot be interchanged, nor any element can be usually inserted in between them. They are usually formed as set expressions. Can all proverbs be included in a dictionary? This is a crucial quest. Proverbs contain many words which are not found in current language. They provide information about the cultural milieu of the speech community. A bigger dictionary may include them, but a concise dictionary may keep them aside. Proverbs are not lexical units in the same ways as set expressions and compounds are. They are a group of lexical units, so it depends on the scope of the dictionary to include them or to reject. Quotations and cliches. Quotations are different from proverbs. They are taken from literature, but gradually, by constant use, they become the part and parcel of the language and their source is forgotten. As a matter of fact, the proverbs themselves are basically the character of repeated quotations. Cliches are quotations which have become hackneyed and stale or stereotypes. The questions of their inclusion depends on the scope of the dictionary. A general dictionary may not include them, but a special dictionary can include them. Acronyms and abbreviations. Some of the acronyms, abbreviations, and clippings become very much part of a language. The usual practice is to present them in appendices, but some abbreviations can be presented in the main body also. The selection of lexical units on the basis of social variations depends on the scope of the dictionary. A general dictionary may include colloquialisms, although normative dictionaries do not enter them in the dictionary name. In the dictionaries using more oral literature or unwritten text, the possibility of inclusion of colloquialism is greater than the dictionaries, which are mainly treated based on written literature. Similarly, a dictionary with a normative character might not include words pertaining to slang, taboo, etc. Similar dictionaries and dictionaries for learners also do not have scope for their inclusion. How to decide the number or density of entries in a dictionary? What are the criteria which help in the selection of entries? One very common and widely accepted criterion for selection of entries is the frequency of the lexical items. Frequency counts are specially made a basis for the selection of entries in a learner's dictionary because they provide the vocabulary minimum criterion for selection of entries. There are many limitations to it. There are not many frequency counts in most of the languages. Whatever frequency counts are available, they are based on the limited corpus. Many common words are not found in them. For example, in phonemic and morphemic frequency in Hindi, some basic words like akhada, a wrestling arena, or pakoras, fried salty vegetables, stuffed gram flours preparation are not included. It depends on the corpus on which the frequency count is based. Many words of daily use may not be frequent and may not be found in those corpus. For large dictionaries, frequency counts cannot be made on the basis of the selection of entries. From the practical point of view, it will involve analyzing a large and unwidely data. Frequency count may be judged from another point of view. Some words are used only once or twice by some eminent writer of a language, while some others may be quite frequently used by lesser known writers, in cheap periodicals and in spy thrillers also. What should be the criterion for their selections in a dictionary? It depends on the scope and size of the dictionary. The normative dictionary may not include all such words of the second category. The reference dictionary may do so. Moreover, if only certain styles are preferred over others, many words and expressions may not find place in it. The success of corpus-based lexicography leads lexicographers to devote much attention towards the ordinary use of language. It has been demonstrated with examples how the ordinary use of language may either supplement or refute lexicographer intentions. Evidence acquired from corpus reveals that for many common words, the most meaning is not the one that first comes to our mind. and that takes place in dictionaries. Thus, traditional dictionary description of words is challenged by new evidence, which is accumulated from corpus. This evidence in general has contributed towards the maturity of lexicography. Thank you.